All right, we are back with our final video of our three-part series with the one and only Sam Davidson. And this time it's really exciting because we're going to continue to extend our understanding of the Google Earth project tool by creating projects with students. This is exciting. We can crunch up those threefold brochures that don't exist anywhere in the world anymore. Tell us about these projects for students, Sam.
So what I love about Google Earth and these projects is that our students are really going to be able to have voice and choice in their learning and their demonstration of learning. It also allows for teachers to have the opportunity to provide a transfer opportunity for our students, which is really what we're looking for in all of our subject area now, right? We want to be able to give our students that exemplary, then we owe it to them to give them this opportunity for transfer as part of our professional responsibility to our students. So this is an engaging, fun way, and it really allows students one more tool in their toolbox for their own personal demonstration of learning. I often taught my students, Google Drawings and as an opportunity. They could do, Screencastify, they could do videos, whatever works best for their learning and understanding. And this is just one more tool for them to use. Now, hopefully you watched our other videos and you were able to put those into practice in your classroom. So your students can have already seen the potential of Google Earth and Google Voyager, and they're already enticed by it. They want to create their own, and they see it as this inquiry project or this discovery project on their own. So I really look forward to showing all the features for our students in that and kind of looking at how they can best represent their understanding with this new tool in Google Earth.
I love it. And so a couple of things that's really great about it. This is 100% Chromebook friendly. So our students can create this on their Chromebooks. We know that because it's digital and it's a link, they can share it back in the Google Classroom with their teacher, so that we do have that evidence of learning as well. And, I think one of the things that makes me really excited, Sam, is this doesn't have to be the big project at the end. This can be a project that's ongoing, created to really building, scaffolding that understanding that a student could do throughout the course of the topic or project or theme that they're using right now.
Right? How great would it be for your students to be able to finish your lecture, finish your video, and then go and do something with it in Google Earth, right? Right away, they're transferring, they're using, they're applying that information. We can get rid of the static paper and pencil notes as well. Our students can be using Google Earth to create jot notes that they're using on the journey that you're talking about. I often think of grade 5 and again, the journey of New France and how all the exploration happened. Well, instead of them writing down all those things, they can discover the places, the images, and then write what they remember using that recall, because it's important for them to practice recall what they remembered instead of trying to listen and write down the notes at the same time. So this can become one of those interactive, even note binder taking skills. You can work on it as students can use and kind of throughout the lessons. And if you're using it at the end, then again, they're focused again more on just the knowledge and content. They're just
Right.
retelling you or showing you something, where we want this to be interactive and we want it to allow for them to really think and use those thinking skills throughout. So I'm really excited to show you some of the potential of the projects here. So, yeah.
This is great. Let's build our understanding. So we're back at earth.google.com. We've been here before. Students can come here and they're going to be looking for their project button as well, right?
Right. So, of course, we talked about this in our first video. Our students are going to want to search. They're going to look for their own home. They're going to explore. They're going to press the little button in Street View. And I do encourage you to allow your students to kind of get that essential exploration kind of done first. Give them that opportunity. Let them look around. Let them click buttons, right? We don't want them to be afraid to click some buttons. So encourage that exploration in there and then dive into your actual project. So we're going to start off on the navigation bar over on the left-hand side here as well. And we're going to have our little Google project, Google Earth icon over here. And as you can see, I've got a ton of projects going on. Your students won't have as many on the navigation bar over here. So for them, they're going to start with a new project. And again, we want them to create the project in Google Drive, so that this automatically saves into their Google Drive. They're going to see right away the same functions that they've been used to with Google Classroom, Google Drawings, all the other Google platform items. And again, let's really encourage our students to discuss, to collaborate, to work together. Honestly, in social studies, 2 heads is better than 1, 3 heads is better than 2. We want our kids to engage in that discussion, to talk about that, to have dialogue, and we can prompt them with sentence starters and things like that to help the communication along. But we really do want our students to talk about why they're choosing the images or why they're choosing these videos, and kind of justifying with each other and exploring learning through each other, that social exploration. So right away, they can share their projects.
I love this. We're putting the social back in social. This is great.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we really need to. I love it. Yeah. So again, we can go ahead and put in all of the students that we're working with in here. They can share with you right away, so you can see it along the journey with them if you'd like to kind of keep an eye on that. But you can kind of put the different projects, your students' names in here, which is great. So that's the one feature that I want to remind everybody of, is these are hopefully not made in isolation, that you as a teacher are making them with your students, or they as students are making them with each other, is a great way to enhance kind of those projects. So that's the kind of the first feature here. So right away as the teacher, you are going to have presented them with learning intentions or success criteria. They're going to know what it is that they need to do in order to be successful with this project. What is it that they're demonstrating to you, their understanding, or what opportunities are you providing? So again, they can edit their title just like they would here. And so for today's example, I think we were just going to use the Underground Railroad as an example. So let's say we wanted our students to explore the journey of Harriet Tubman and how she escaped to freedom and all of the information that went with it. But again, our overarching goal or our outcome is going to be, how does this story impact Black communities in Canada, right? So it's not just necessarily retelling you the story of Harriet Tubman or going through spot to spot and showing us that. It's more about, it's getting to that deeper learning, it's getting to that transfer as well. What does this story tell me about Black communities here in Canada and those types of things? So it's more than just the story of the Underground Railroad. But for today's example, we'll just use that. So the Underground Railroad is going to be my title. And again, as a student, I might want to restate my success criteria. I am learning, right? Say I can show you, or right? So again, if they're using the success and learning intentions you've provided them, they're putting it back into their project, so they know exactly what they need to do. And of course, we have rubrics that we might co-create with students as well. But let's get back to the tech. So we've started this. We've got our Underground Railroad kind of just labeled for our new project, and we can start the journey here. Now, I have one somewhat prepared to kind of give you an idea of what this could look like.
I love this. It's like the food TV. They always pull the pie out done. So you've got an example for us that you've started. And so this is a student project. And very, again, you could share this with me. So I could be your co-editor on this. You could hit that plus button for the collaborator. You can start typing my name. I'm there. And then the students have that ability. Are they an editor? Are they a viewer? They can send that. And now that will be waiting for me in my Google Earth when I go to my projects.
Which is great. And I think, again, that really enhances that evolution of learning. We really need to build that discussion topics back in. So yeah, so we can share this with you right away. And again, even for when you think about some of our students who might need support, a teacher can start, right? A teacher can create a few different places, a few different images, and then give this as kind of like
a jumping off point.
Exactly, like
Love it.
Point for our students, right? So we have all these opportunities built in here. So just like some students, we would provide them with slides, templates, let's say, to get them to prompt. This way we can also send them and get them started with a Google project as well here. So let's say I just wanted to start my journey. We've showed you in the previous videos that our students can add images that they choose and select, and they can add some description or what they want to write. Again, here going back to the learning intentions, right? So I've just added in, I know that I'm going on the journey of Harriet Tubman, so I have an image of her, and her journey started here in Maryland, right? So as a student, I can tell you all about the different pieces of information here. I can tell you about her past, how that influenced or what motivated her to seek freedom, those kind of things here. I can go and self-differentiate for myself as well, right? So it's not a project that, you know, there's some students who need reduced workload because they're putting in what they can tell you about that particular outcome. So then let's say I want to get a little bit more specific. I want to move now towards her particular plantation, where it all kind of started for her. So I was able to Google search an image and then talk about Poplar Neck Plantation, and our students know how to do that, again, through just the new feature going through there. And then I wanted to think about, now I know that Choptank River was one of those major contributors and one of those major significant areas for the Underground Railroad. So those are kind of the features that our students can start with. They can add their own information. Here I haven't added my own image yet, so let's go ahead and edit that. So this is where the students perhaps started. They searched Choptank River. And now I want to replace this, just like we've done in our past videos, and we can focus it more on a Google image search for the Underground Railroad and the Choptank River. So let's just, oh, I put Underground River, that's funny. Underground Trail Road and Choptank River. Anything? All right, so then you can see that there's actually quite a lot of historical markers along this river. So our students can explore and they can talk about, I love how there's already kind of a pathway that they can add to it, and they can talk about this pathway. They can talk about how this influenced her travels and how she went along. So for this sake, let's just use, I think that a really geographic thinking image is going to work for my personal project as a student, but your students have that freedom and choice of what best represents their thinking and their knowledge. So then they can write this as a significant place along the journey.
And as Samantha's typing, keep in mind, if you do have students that need some assistive technology, they can absolutely type these different parts using assistive technology in, say, a Google Doc. So they can use read write, they can use voice to text, they will have that support in a Google Doc, and they can simply paste it into the information box inside of the Google Earth projects.
I love that. Yeah, we have to think about how it's accessible for all of our students.
Absolutely.
So then again, I'm the student, I can pick, well, I'm going to pick this as a hiking, or this is part of the walking journey that she's on. And then I go back to my project, and now I've got my 3 markers here. So
that's great.
Let's go ahead, just click present. So I now want to share this to my teacher or with my colleagues in my class, my peers, and I can go along and show my presentation just as it is, kind of this way, where I've got my different text features and I've got my images. But there is so much more that I can do as a student now. So one of the new features that you can add in here is you can add a screen slide, a full screen slide. So I can almost turn my project into a slideshow embedded in Google Earth projects. And so what I loved about this is students can create the slides right in here with particular images, but I'm just going to start this with, let's say just I was going to use Peru, but I'll just go Underground Railroad. And again, I can add my title here, whatever I want to do. But what the best feature is about this one is when I click to the image, I go again into my drive. And you can search up however you saved it. So in this case, I had already put in like a slide share for what my Google Earth could look like, right? So I've got slides in here. I've got title slides. I can change the background of it. I can change, I could just put, my name here.
This is great. Yeah, it makes a title. Can you preview that for us so people will see what this looks like?
Yeah, so this is kind of what I can start my project looking at, right? So how amazing is this? And then we can overlay this whole project. So let's say our students want to embed some, oral discussion or things like that. They can screen record themselves on this journey and share that with you as well. And this really helps to organize that presentation. So if on top of it, you wanted to add, again, in social studies, we know we want presentation skills. We want our students to be able to discuss, and some students do as well. I'm chatty, so I would always love the opportunity to, on top of writing my experiences, I'd also like to talk about what I was writing, right? Just to add more detail. So I can go in present mode and I can screen record my presentation for you as well on top of it all.
So a couple of things I'm noticing with you making this, if you notice here, your title slides now under. Can I drag the order of those place markers and title slides? So right now, could you move that title slide to the beginning and move around some of your pieces? Like that can happen. You just drag those. So I could have my title slides, my different place markers, my lines. I do think we need to show how you made that, because you made something beautiful. It was simple. You just had a Google Slides presentation open, right?
That's right. I literally just had, so this is one that I had used with a student or with a classroom before in grade 3, for example. We went on a Google Earth Voyager. I had my guiding question, then my learning intentions. So I was able to use this slide. So if your students, for example, have your slides already available in Google Classroom, they can make a copy for themselves, and they can specifically pick 1 or 2 of the slides that they want to use. So I went File, and in this case, I went Download, and then I made sure it was the PNG. And then with a Google Chromebook, this would go right into
your Google Drive. Right? So as a teacher, I could create the success criteria, the categories they have to have. I can make a copy of that Google Slides for every student in my classroom in Google Classroom. And now the students can just edit those and make them their own, but also save those images for title slides inside of Google Earth.
Right, and they can use that as one of those, again, scaffolding moments or jumping off
Yes.
points for them, right? So it really does, again, create teacher work embedded with the students. It's that co-collaboration of everything that they're able to really kind of unite. So for that, I think that that's an amazing feature to add into all of our student
What
kind
a
of
great
projects.
idea. And we're going to
Where you can
share
start
these
that.
slides that you have here. We're going to share them below the video just so that you have an idea. You can make a copy of our slides just so that you can see just those beautiful learning intentions, success criteria, placeholders. What a great idea. But there's two more features you want to show us, Sam, right?
Yeah, so the other one I wanted to talk about was, as you can see, I've got two place markers here now between Poplar Neck and Choptank River. And what is interesting about this journey is that, well, it's not about necessarily the end places of the journey, it's what happened between. What was going
Mm,
on for Harriet Tubman and her family as they were fleeing, as they were looking for routes, as they were looking for escape routes. So what we can add here is we can add a line. We could draw a line here, and
mm,
what I love is I have this opportunity to click here, and then it's going to drag over to, again, my river placemat marker. And now I have a line built in here. And it doesn't need to just be a stagnant line just to show, obviously, that that's the route she took, right? Again, I can add other features to that now. So here, for example, one of the best things that I would love my students to put in something like this if it was mine is to do a Google search for Polaris. And then this is where, oh, of course they put here. That's amazing.
they didn't take an
So north,
ATV, but they did use a
star.
star. I love this.
There we go. All right. So they use the North Star, Polaris as I call it. And so you can put in an image here, and then our students are able to talk about,
Mm,
right, and the pathway that they took, right? So path to the river, they could talk about the use of Polaris as the North Star as their kind of navigational tool, what that meant for them, how important that is. And again, you're bringing in, all kinds of other opportunities for transfer of knowledge, right? What does that say about technology of the times? And they can talk about things like that. So the line
awesome.
feature, I think, is also another great addition. So now I have, oh, I should have labeled that. My apologies. So again, when we have the title here, star. And then in my feature, I now have the North Star part of my presentation. So I don't have to
Fantastic.
create a separate slide, or I don't have to create, sidebar or side note. I can build it into the presentation, which I absolutely love as students, because it's those important parts about the journey that really matters, right? What's from point A to point B is as important as the fact that they got from point A to point B,
Right,
right?
right.
So I love
Love
that
that.
feature that they can add. And again, there's collaboration tools in that as well. And then the other thing that we can have them add is, let's say, let's just pick a place marker. So let's say in Maryland, for example, I'm going to edit this feature. So right now I have an image of Harriet Tubman and I have a little bit of information for her. But let's say that I am one of those kind of visual and auditory learners. And for me, adding an additional video would be beneficial for
Mm,
me to demonstrate to you my understanding. So remember, that's always the purpose here. The students are showing you their understanding of the content, whether that be throughout the unit or as notes for themselves, right? How beneficial would it be for a student to then go and find a video that relates to your classroom discussion and embed it to their interactive notes, right? Fantastic for that. So we just click the edit button here. And in this case, I'm going to go to YouTube and I can search Underground Railroad. And I've got some amazing videos that I can select and add directly in here. So instead of just having that static photo, I now have a visual that I can go and watch and kind of use as a way to demonstrate my understanding. So then as a student here in the description, I'm not describing the place or necessarily the image, I'm describing my purpose for the video. I
right.
chose this video today because this video will show you this, right? So again, it's just like as teachers, we look for those ways that our videos enhance the student learning.
Yep.
They're going to do the same. They're going to find a video that's going to enhance their understanding and also demonstrate to me as the teacher that they're really understanding this. This is a transfer opportunity for them. So I just think that, again, when our students get to use this as a regular tool, it's something in their tool belt that they can pull out for demonstration of learning or for creation of understanding. learning as I'm going along. I think it's such an amazing tool that I hope our students in the division start using a lot of. So yeah.
I love this. And, I love that we've torn down the walls for place-based learning and that idea of geography and location and history and culture. But as you're talking about, I'm thinking of math, I'm thinking of science, I'm thinking of literary journeys. Like, I could really use this in so many subject areas. I think that's so fantastic. We're going to give you some links to some shared projects that we have for students underneath this video. We're going to give you a link to some Sam's amazing kind of placeholder slides with some learning intentions. You can use that to create your own. But Sam, thank you for showing us all of the places we can go, getting off the page, bringing learning to life. And if you make a great project with your students, we invite you. Please share it with myself and Sam. We'd love to celebrate you and share that with others. So we hope you enjoyed this 3-part video series, and we look forward to seeing you in another episode.
Bye, everyone.